sort of anticipated as a possibility, and that is that there might be a reduction in the bond number for Donald Trump. And he was even given an extension on the amount of time he has to come up with the money.
So the reason you post a bond is to, until appeals are completed, prevent the seizure of your assets. If you lose a building and it gets resold to somebody, you can't get it back unless they want to sell it back to you. A bond is not punitive. That's a fundamental important concept. It is not punitive. It is to guarantee payment. So the court in this case reduced the bond to half of the underlying disgorgement Trump has to make. It was $353 million. The court rounded to 175 and ignored the interest. And that's is not that unusual. I mean, you go back 40 years, 42 years, I think, to the fight between Pennzoil and Texaco, or these two big oil companies. And the bond in that case would have been in the billions of dollars, and the court only made it, I think, 5 or 10% of the total amount. And in the end, everything got negotiated and worked out. Trump's buildings aren't going anywhere. And the interest continues to mount at the rate of about $87,000 a day. It is not cumulative, by the way. You don't get interest on the interest. The interest is just on the base amount. Nonetheless, $87,000 a day. Wow. You go a year and you're talking now in seven figures.
So he has 10 days to come up with the money, and he now, it seems, will likely come up with the bond, the whole amount.
I think so. He says he will. Now, this is very different than what his lawyers represented to Judge Engoron. They said it was impossible to do this. They said it in open court. They said it in caper filings. And once again, Donald Trump has just gone off and said what he said. What we probably will find, I can't say probably, what we may well find out happened here is Donald Trump in August of 2020, as president, issued an executive order banning TikTok and a second Chinese app. He called them a threat. A judge threw that out because, of course, the president can't do that. You can't restrain somebody's First Amendment rights unilaterally. Trump continued to attack TikTok. Then early in March, he met a Philadelphia man named Peter Yass, who is an actual billionaire. He's worth $25 billion. Trump says he only met him for a few minutes, but he met him. And that person, Peter Yass, is the biggest single donor to Republican candidates and causes in the United States. And he owns 7% of ByteDance, the parent of TikTok. That's what made him, in fact, most of his $25 million fortune was from buying ByteDance stock when it was really cheap. And all of a sudden, Donald is now in favor of TikTok. He doesn't want to ban TikTok. Now, his argument is, well, it's because of Facebook and other social media, but those were still the same issues in the summer of 2022. And in my view, what this shows very clearly is how Donald's policies are for sale. Do what I want, put money in my pocket, and I'll give you what you want. And that's not how the law is supposed to work. It's not how our government is supposed to work. And so I expect we will find out that just as Trump had to effectively borrow money from Chubb, the Swiss insurance company, to post the $83 million bond in the E. Jean Carroll second defamation case, that if Trump puts up this money, it will somehow be connected to Peter Yass. There is one other way for Trump to do this. He can't sell his stock in the company with the stock ticker DJT, and it's gone up more than 40% just today. So if he could sell it all at the current price, he would get over $5 billion. But he can't sell it for 6 months. And the directors are all either appointees of his or family members. If they were to waive the requirement and let him sell the stock and it tanks, as is almost certain to happen, they'd all be sued by shareholders, and it wouldn't be a hard case to make. Just for people who don't know, Donald's company had revenues of less than $5 million last year and lost $49 million, but it's being valued by the market right now at over $8 billion.
Well, we talked about this last hour. I'm so glad you mentioned this, David, because I was saying that this really feels like a pump and dump operation. Although I don't know who's going to dump it. I mean, I don't know because the dumper won't be Trump.
So here's what Trump can do. He can go to someone like Peter Yass, who has a big financial firm, and pledge his shares to him. He owns 58% of the company. And let's